I'm very pleased to bring forth Charlotte Alexandrowitz from Elements. Um, she's going to share with us some great things around our SLAs. We all know within our JSM portals that it's usually the first impression that our both employees and clients have of our company. Um, and those few clicks that they experience can shape how they see our company. Um, so again, I want to welcome Charlotte from Elements to show us how we can design a smoother, more human-centric um, experience that helps um, those people that come in and see our portals match what success kind of feels like for those users. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Charlotte. Charlotte, thank you for joining us and sharing with us what you're about to showcase. And folks, if you have questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. I'm happy to read them out. You're also welcome to just go off, if you're okay with this, Charlotte, go off mic and just ask her your questions direct. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, this is a session for you guys. So let's make it worthwhile and get the most bang for the buck. Charlotte, thanks.
Uh, Thank you very much, Dean, for welcoming me and for having me tonight. I'm really happy to be here and to talk today about SLAs and what does it mean, how we can go further, etc. So as you can probably guess from my accent, I'm from France. I'm based in Toulouse. So currently for me, it's 6 p.m. I know that for you it's morning, so grab a coffee and we'll get going into this session. My first question is, I'm currently sharing my screen. Is everyone can see it?
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. So today the question that we'll try to answer is what if SLA says success, but your users don't? So we all seen this happening in companies and where we all are. IT eats every matrix, every SLA looks green, and yet employees are still frustrated, still unproductive, not happy with the service they are getting. So that's because SLAs are only telling one side of the story, the operational side of it. So what's missing is the experience side for the users. So that's exactly what today is about, how to go beyond SLAs, how to measure experience with XLAs, so experience level agreement, and how to take that journey step by step. So I hope that by the end of this session, you will see how the journey, the maturity journey works, what it looks like in Jira Service Management, and how Elements tools can help you at every stage in that journey. So we'll start from a theoretical point of view of the economy, the experience economy, what is it and why going to the experience management, and then jump to practical examples of different stages of experience management in GSM. So just a few words about Elements and who we are. So we are a marketplace vendor in the Atlassian ecosystem. So as you can see, we're based in Toulouse, but we have also a team working from Montreal. They are there to support all our American customers. So we have the SOC 2 Type 2 certification and the ISO 1 in the pipe for our European customers. We are currently still a small company. We are 40 people. And we have a full dedicated support team to help you along the way. But if we jump into our subject of today and why going to XLA. So this is a quote that I really like from a Salesforce a report that they made like 2 years ago, but I think that this sentence still reflects a lot about what is it. 80% of customers say the experience a company provides is as equally important as its product or services. So it means that we are not looking at the product by itself or the services anymore. The customer wants a more holistic view of the relationship with the product, the seller, or the service provided. The competition can be hard, and the key differentiator could be the experience the customer has. The question is, what is experience management, why using it, and how to measure it, how to improve it along the way. The next thing to know truly about experience is the type of people we are talking about and who is doing the experience. So we need to really differentiate the customer experience and the user experience. So on the left, we have the customer experience. So it's more about the whole journey. It's everything someone goes through when dealing with IT or a service desk, raising a ticket, getting updates, follow-ups, sorry, the way they're treated. It's a story they will tell about how IT feels to work with. On the right side, it's the user experience. So it's much more a specific interaction. It's about the interaction with a product or a tool. So in our world and ecosystem, it could be the interaction in a JSM portal. Is it easy to log in? Can you find the right request type? Is the form simple to submit? That's about user experience. So the big picture is customer experience. It's a overall journey. And then you have the user experience in the end of interaction. Both matter and they plan different roles. And in service management, you need both to get people happy and productive. And yes, Justin, I also love that picture because I really think that it's really reflected the different point of view that you can have about the same product or the same services. The way you see, I don't know how you call it in English, sorry, but that small toys turning for a baby, and the point of view of the baby is really, as you can see, specific, I would say. So if we go into the economy metrics, we'll have a look at it through the lens of coffee, because for you it's morning, so I thought that it could be a good parallel to make to really understand what is the economy, and then we'll see how it's translated into Jira. So at the start, you have the commodities, so just the coffee beans. The value here is that standardization, the quality of the bean, and the production. So the metrics are all about cost per kilos. That's the simple things you need to measure in commodities. Then you move to the product. So the product is really the packaged coffee that you can all buy in a supermarket. So you measure it through KPIs, return on investment, supply chain, still mostly operational KPI and metrics to measure. Then you got services. Someone makes and serves you the coffee. So here the metric shift to SLA, so service level agreement. So it's really a time metrics. Throughputs and value for money. Was the coffee good or not when you are at a standard cafe, I would say. But the highest stage is truly the experience with coffee. So think, for example, as Starbucks. I think that's a well-known brand. So if I have for the record, I have to say the other brand, I would say like Columbus, another French brand. So people just don't pay for coffee. They pay for the vibe, the personalization, the customization, the ecosystem, how the shop looks. So here the metrics are more on the experience level agreement, XLA, the customer journey, and ultimately the value people feel. So the takeaway on this slide is really simple. As you move up from commodity to experience, the metric change from cost and efficiency to value and feelings. And that's what we want to make. Oh, sorry. So here it is. So here we are, and it's the same things happen in service management. So at the start, JSM project measure tickets and SLA, the bin and bags of IT. But as you mature, the real value comes from delivering experiences, measuring XLA, and understanding how IT impacts people's work and productivity. So that means IT stops being just a service provider and becomes a true business partner. So if we go a bit deeper into that experience economy in Jira, at the commodity level, we will find IT just counting outputs, how many tickets were closed and what was the cost per ticket. Very operational, very transactional. More on the product level, we start introducing improvements like automation, a knowledge-based, and more efficient processes. Things get smoother, but we're still mainly focused on efficiency and efficiency metrics. Then we move into services. The focus shifts to SLAs and CSATs. So CSATs are basic surveys rating from 1 to 5. Were you happy with the provided services? Are we delivering what we promised? Are the users satisfied how their tickets were handled? So it's more like a reactive way of using Jira, but now you still have metrics to know if your customer or users were happy. And finally, you have the experience level. So it's no longer just about closing quickly. It's about the journey, how we measure XLA, look at how employee feel throughout the process and focus on real value to the business. So just like coffee, IT supports evolve from counting beans to serving coffee, to creating a full experience. And the higher you go, the more impact you have on the people and your organization. Now let's talk about the watermelon effect. So it's basically the question that we ask. What if the SLA says success, but your user don't? So that means green on the outside for the SLA and red on the inside. So this means when all your SLA looks green on the outside, response time are met, tickets are closed on time, but when you actually talk to the user, they are unhappy, it's green outside, red inside. So it happens because SLAs are only a measuring the process. They don't tell you how people feel about that process. A ticket can be resolved in 4 hours, but if the employee was blocked from working during that time, their experience is still terrible. That's why we need experience metric, XLAs, on top of SLA. They capture the satisfaction, the sentiment, and the value behind it. That's what helps us close the gap between IT think it's doing great and user feels frustrated. So in short, SLA keep us efficient, XLA keep us relevant. Just to give you a quick example, imagine this. I think like it mostly happened to all of us. Your laptop crashes at 9 a.m. You raise a ticket to IT and IT responds in 15 minutes. SLA made. They tell you it will be fixed in 4 hours. At 1 p.m. your laptop is back. SLA met again. From an SLA point of view, everything is green. But from your point of view, you just lost half a day of work. You couldn't join meetings, you couldn't deliver your task, you were stressed and unproductive. So that's the watermelon effect. On paper, it's green, inside it's bright red. Now, if we flip the situation and apply it with XLAs, your laptop crashes at 9 a.m. again, but this time IT has an experience mindset. You actually get a proactive message saying, we've detected an issue with your laptop, a replacement is on its way. And here is how you can use a virtual desktop infrastructure to keep working in the meantime. So you're back online within minutes. Later, IT checks to make sure you didn't miss any critical meetings and that you're truly and fully productive again. Maybe the SLA clock still say 4 hours to resolution, but your experience was completely different. You felt supported, you stayed productive, and you didn't lose half a day in your task. So that's the shift from SLA to XLA thinking, from measuring tasks to measuring outcomes and feeling. So if we go to why people are unhappy with just SLAs, so it will be more of a recap and the pain points that we saw earlier. So first, people expect more. It's in their personal life, everything in instance, Amazon deliveries, Netflix recommendation, at work, they want the same seamless experience. When your computer is broken, you just want another one or a solution to continue working, or otherwise you're losing half a day or maybe more than that. We still have a lot of time-centric thinking. SLA measure minutes and hours, but users care about the outcome. Getting a response in 30 minutes doesn't help if they still can't do their jobs in for half a day. I mean, like, it's a true problem. Then you have the bad collaboration. When teams don't talk to each other, the users feel like they are being bounced around from IT to HR to facilities. It feels fragmented. And with the XLA, we can just bring them together again. Fourth, we're often stuck in reactive problem solving, fixing things after the break instead of preventing the issues before they impact people. So we need to solve that to be more in a proactive way of working. And finally, all of this create a disadvantage. If employees are waiting on IT, they are less productive, less engaged, and that drags the business down. So the pain isn't just technical, it's emotional and business critical as well. So we'll try to do a show of hands, but I guess that it will be more like on fun. How many of you ever felt bounce around between different teams when trying to get an issue fixed? Yeah, I guess all of us, or you're just lying to yourself or to your IT team. So basically, then we will see how to measure your happiness as users. So the big question is, how do you measure XLAs? Because that's still a thing. So at the bottom, we still keep the SLAs because that's still an important thing. And that's what we call the operational data or O data. So it will be more like time to first response, time to resolution, classic SLAs. We are not reinventing the wheel here. Above that, we've got technical rates, volumes, cadence, half metrics. That's our T data, technical data. Are the systems running? Are requests flowing? So it's really about health check, I would say, of your team. Then the next layer is about surveys, because asking users directly is still really important. How do you feel about the service? How did we do today? How do you feel? It's really important. Sentiment and perception. So that's our X data. At the top of our pyramid, it's the experience ambition, so what we call the XLA, what we want to achieve. This is where we define the experience what we actually want people to have. Not just fast service, but smooth, frictionless, and human. The idea is simple. SLA and technical rates measure efficiency. XLA measure happiness, trust, and value. And it's only when combining them that you get the full picture of it. I like doing parallels with real life. So think of it as building a house. The SLA are still important, so SLA are the foundation of your house. Solid but basic, they keep the house standing. Then you have the technical data. Technical data are more like wall and, I would say, wiring, and they show if things are functional as expected. Then you have the survey. The expert survey acts like the paint and the furniture. You start asking, does it feel good to live here? How are you feeling in the house? And the XLAs are more the lifestyle you want in that house, not just shelter, but comfort, joy, your own lifestyle. So you want the nice pictures, you want to make it a bit more like yourself. You want the experience of feeling at home. So without the top layer, you just have a building. With them, you create a home. So that's what it is about today. So Now that we've seen the different types of metrics and why is it important to shift to experience management uh, from SLA at the bottom to XLAs at the top, the next question is, where are you today? And now, how do you move forward? So that's where the maturity journey comes in. At Elements, we see 4 satisfaction maturity level in IT. So we have what we call the level 0, no experience measurement. This is where there is no feedback loop, no measurement of user happiness. IT is running completely blind, I would say. Then you go to level 1, reactive measure. At this stage, teams start collecting feedbacks, usually CSAT or basic surveys. It's reactive and tied to tickets only. Then you have the level 2, proactive engagement. Now, IT doesn't just react, it actively monitors experience, looks at trend, and start correlating them with productivity. And then the last stage is integrated experience focused. This is the most mature stage. XLAs are fully embedded, IT aligns with business outcomes, and experience management is fully integrated into daily operation. The big takeaway here is every step in the ladder is about moving from time and efficiency metrics to experience and value metrics. That's how IT shifts from being a service provider to becoming a true business partner. Again, a quick poll. I don't know if we can set up polls in Zoom, but maybe I will just read in the chat. At which level do you locate your company? Where do you think you are currently? Or if someone wants to take the floor and speak. Aspire to be level 3. But where are you truly are?
Yeah.
I know that we all want to go to level 3. That's the dream.
I,
Um,
I think for us, it's a lot of the time. I mean, if I'm being honest, we're probably 1.5 maybe. The reality is we have these great aspirations and dreams of getting to 3, but the reality is um, the business kind of steps in and we have to focus on what really kind of is hot at that moment. And I think for us, we look for ways of, maybe the tools taking some of that heavy lifting to kind of do that work for us to help us get there. This is one of those things where it'd be great if we had a month of non-client work so that we could just focus internally, where we would have a great system, right? While we eat our own dog food at times, sometimes we don't have the time to do that.
Justin, James, does one of you want to take the floor and explain us what your company are
Yeah.
doing at level 3 or 2?
Well, I think Atlassian and advisory services, I mean, our company is so big that we're all over the place. Like some parts of the organization are probably at level 0 if they're a new organization, just getting their structures in place and their foundation, like you mentioned, in place. And advisory services, obviously, we work with a lot of our biggest customers, and with some of our customers, we're probably at a level 3 where we're the trusted advisor with them. But more realistically, kind of to Dean's point, we're also in the consulting space. And 1.5 is probably the average. Some account teams are at a 2. It's rare to be at a 3, obviously, but I would say, yeah, on average, probably the same as Dean, 1.5 for at least for advisory services with our customers.
Thank you for sharing. James, do you want to share your level 2 story? No, James. Okay, so I guess I will just move on with the rest of the presentation. So the rest of the presentation is really practical. We'll go through each stage. I build a GSM project for each stage, and I will show you then how to go to the next stage, what you can implement in terms of enterprise service management processes, in terms of experience management, processes as well, and the XLA journey. So that's the free track that we will follow between each stage. You will see my level 0 is a true level 0. Can you see my Jira now? Or are you still on the presentation?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope,
great.
I see it.
Great. So this is a Jira JSM project level 0, and I guess I hope none of the Jira customers are at this stage. It's basically one portal, one request type, basic form, as we will see. So basically here I created basic form. As you can see, you have nothing inside. So it's really hard to fulfill. A lot of back and forth with the support team, because I feel like, okay, if I want a new laptop, my laptop is broken, I want a new one. Oh. Basically, with that, an IT support team cannot work. They have no information. They will have to switch tools together, information. Who am I? What do I do? Why do I need a new laptop? What do we have in our IT inventory? Of the accessories, no information. Really hard to handle, a lot of back and forth, and basically the experience is not great because it will require a lot of back and forth, so it will take a lot of my time, it will take a lot of time for the support team as well. So it's really not the best level to be at. So basically, how do we leave that level? I won't create it because there is no automation, nothing, and it will be just a lost ticket in Jira. So basically, how do I go to level 1? So level 0 is basic, functional, no sense of experience. So as I said, we will have 3 tracks that will analyze the enterprise service management process, the experience management process, and the XLA journey. So on the ESM side, so that means if we want to go to level 1, so we're starting designing our level 1 here. So we will start by creating basic service catalog items. So no more dumping everything into others. So we start by qualifying a bit more our requests. So you introduce clear categories for common requests. You have standard forms. You capture the right details upfront, so agents don't have to waste time chasing missing information. You actually try to standardize the form per request type. You start by having also incident management, defining priorities and escalation paths, so issues are handled consistently. We won't go into how to do an incident management use case, even though I could talk about that, but that's not the point today. You need to have a CMDB accuracy because it's really important to connect with other tools outside of Jira to have information. So clean up your assets and use data so tickets can be linked to real business context. If you need tools for that, we have Elements Connect in our portfolio. So you can retrieve information from external data sources and you can populate custom fields from them to provide more context for the users and for the support. On the experience side of it, you start by basic native SLA. So the first, it would probably be time to first response, but you can also implement time to resolution. So that would make 2. And then you can enable also the minimal feedback capture within Jira. So it's native CSAT as well that you have in Jira. So every time a request is closed, it will send an email to the user and they will have to rate their satisfaction from 1 to 5. To measure and to start having dashboards about those metrics, you can use Elements Pulse. So Pulse will provide you dashboards about your SLAs and your CSAT. Then you have your XLA journey. So it's all about engagement and enlightenment, starting about awareness. It's when IT starts to realize experience can be measured. Yeah, I would say that it's the first light bulb moment. So you realize that its experience is truly something that you can measure. So how does it look like in JSM? So I also build another Jira project. So here is my level 1 experience management project. So as you can see here, we still have only one total group, the level 1, but we have several request types and we have small groups inside. So if I go inside one, so I will click by I want IT help. This one is not the best one. I will click another one. So if I want to report an issue, maybe, yeah. If I want to report an issue, here I can see that I still have my summarize problem. So I want a computer. Here I can write whatever I want about the description. So I will just copy and paste because I don't have time. Here you start by having several custom fields non-connected to a CMDB. So that's not good because that means that you have to make sure that your custom fields, when you create it in Jira, it's up to date and you have all the information. As you can see here, that's a custom field from Jira. I didn't created it from scratch. You have a lot of things inside and it's not even related to IT because I have also HR, infrastructure service. It's a bunch of things and it's not relevant for my request, but at least it's something that I can fulfill. You have other fields that you can fulfill. And here we go. So if I create it, we will see on the other side of it that we have SLAs embedded. So we're starting with, as I said, the time to first response, and time to resolution. If I close that request, it will also automatically send a CSAT survey to my emails. But once you have all those SLA information here, that's only the SLA information for one issue. But as an IT manager, you want to have the broader view of it. So you can go inside Elements Pulse and you can define and say, okay, I want to measure only the customer satisfaction, so the CSAT, and the SLA. So it gives you an overview of how you did in those two areas. So if you want to dig a bit deeper, here you will find the customer satisfaction, so the native CSAT, and you can really see through time how you did for that specific metrics. And you can really have more information and you can also correlate it with the SLA that you have here that you can also track through time. As you can see, we didn't do a good November month at that time, so that it drops. So that's things to take into account. But that's only two things. So it's really dedicated to IT, it's reactive measure, and you still have a lot of problems that we saw on level 1. So how do we go to level 2? So we've seen that we added structure, but now it's time to add a full catalog, a full forms, and finally start hearing from users and have more information about how do we shift from reactive to actually engage proactively with our users. So again, on the ESM side, we introduced several service request fulfillment. So requests aren't just tickets, but they have a clear workflows behind them. They have also automations. So it's more along the way. You add what we call problem and event management, which help us spot patterns and recurring issue rather than just firefighting incidents. So you create also a knowledge base to have also information about that, and what we call also post-mortem within Confluence, so you learn from your mistake. So as I say, we expand our service catalog so employees find what they need more easily, and we start building knowledge base which empowers employee to self-serve and reduce ticket volume, and we roll out really automation. On the more experience management side of it, you have more type of post-resolution surveys. You have feedback dashboards that you can follow. You begin to track the productivity and the collaboration of the team. And you can also start analyzing all those request type, because with a broader service type catalog, you need at some point to analyze your service, your catalog items. On the XLA journey, this is where culture and leadership readiness comes to play. So experience management needs buy-in leadership, not just IT. It's also where teams build their capabilities, the skills, the processes, but also the technology to support proactive engagement. So at this stage, tools like Elements tools, Elements Connect can help you really strengthen your JSM forms, but also the context on the support view. Elements Pulse will help you capture the user sentiment, the dashboard, and you will see the productivity information as well. And then with Catalyst, you can really shape how your service catalogs are delivered with more consistency and automation. So if again, we jump into a demo, here, as you can see, we have a broader portal because it's more specific, and a broader service catalog, as I say, because it's for different teams. So we have also different request type and forms. So if I click into human resources, I have a question for them. So I want to raise just the questions. And as you can see here, it's a specific form for that specific request. So we're making a point. So here I want to know how to retrieve my perks. And here, as you can say, it's connected to a knowledge base. So I have information about the perks, but it doesn't tell me how can I retrieve them. So I still want to know how to retrieve my perks. So I will just continue to fulfill my description. I won't say that it's a sensitive matter, and I will just send it. As you will see, when I will click on this one, and here we have also a few automations because I have an assignee directly for my issue. So it's Alana here, and it's connected to JSM and the knowledge base, because here she has also a knowledge base to help her on that topic. If we go into Elements Catalyst to see how we can handle and have actual metrics about the service catalog. So here in Elements Catalyst, you can really truly analyze your portal. So you can have a tree view. So you know, here we were in human resources, or sorry, my mouse. It's a bit sensitive. And I can see all the links between all the request types. So I know who's dependent and the dependencies between everything. So if you go into, for example, the employee recognition, you can have data about how your service catalog items, how your request type was used. So you know who's using it, the top requester, legal, facilities, unassigned, marketing team, how many requests as well. You know that if the request is not used, maybe you can delete it. And you can have also information about the form. So you know which field was left empty, because an empty field means either it's not useful for that form, or maybe they just don't know what to put inside and it will require more information. So if we go into elements, in elements or elements pulse, we saw that we were here. So if I go inside the setting, I will just go into productivity because we saw that's something to improve in that pillar. I can go back and I didn't save, so that's not working. So I want to click the productivity again and save it. It will run a bit. So it will start, it's saying then less than a minute. So we'll just take 1 or 2. I should have known that run when I was talking about the Elements Catalyst just to show you. Okay, so it's not taking a lot of time, so we're still good. Up. So here you go. The productivity pillar appeared here. On the insights part of it, now we've unlocked this one here as well, and all the data related to the productivity. So that's the data that we saw, remember my pyramid and the data? And so that's what we were talking about when we were talking about technical data. So that first contact resolution rate and the flow of the request. If you remember well, we also said that in this time, we need to improve also the type of survey we are delivering to our customers. So in Elements Pulse, you can go to the survey part and you can build a Net Promoter Score survey inside. So you can just click on create, you type the name, you type your questions and how you want to trigger it here. I won't trigger it because I won't create one because I already have one. So I can show you how it's looking like. So when you have the result, here you have consolidated result about your NPS surveys. So you know how you did for all that specific surveys. And if you go back to the insights part with the customer satisfaction, you have the CSAT and you have the Net Promoter Score. And behind that, you have a formula to make that global score over here. So that's our level 2. So now, that's great, Charlotte. But we all think that we are level 2 and we want to achieve level 3. How do we go to level 3? So that's where things really change. So IT starts being just proactive and starts becoming more preventing, identifying the friction before it happens and making sure employees don't even feel the pain of their problem. So on the ESM side, we introduced change and release management. So new rollouts are carefully controlled and disruptions are minimized. You strengthen your asset management, making sure every device, licenses, and application is tracked, linked to the right people. This ensures issues can be resolved faster and more accurately. If you need a tool for that, Elements Connect can be the really right tool if you have an external database with all those information. On the experience management process side, you adopt full XLA tools, Elements Pulse and Elements Catalyst. You analyze the dashboards with all the X, T, and O data that you will find within Elements Pulse fully used. So to capture the experience, you establish continual digital experience improvement cycles using the data to spot where employee struggles and fix it. Elements Catalyst can really help you structure that service delivery at scale. You can also roll out sentiment management, always on feedback channel to capture how people feel, not just what they report. So you have also the native sentiment analysis from Jira inside JSM. To do that. And you can also have proactive alerts. So IT gets notified when experience drop below a threshold and can act before users even log a ticket. You need also to provide visibility to the users. The users really like to have transparency on what's happening on their issues. And Elements Overview can help you provide that visibility to your customer users on the GSM portal. On the XLA journey, this is where you identify friction point and measure what we call the return on experience, ROX. So you also begin shaping XLAs around personas that you can really define with Elements Catalyst. So you really see the different groups consultants on the road, office staff, legal team, marketing team, different needs, different expectation. All of that can be, you can pull all those data from Elements Catalyst. So at this stage, IT is not just about fixing faster, it's about stopping the problem from impacting the employee in the first place. So again, if we go into my help desk, so I again raise a ticket inside my service desk. So I want to raise a request to have a new notebook. I think that's a message for my management. I want a new notebook. I would like the latest notebook. And here you can see, as always, the knowledge base, but you can also see connected to a CMDB new assets fields, I would say. So you know what's in your IT inventory. So I want the latest MacBook. I have also all the dependencies because I can say, okay, I want a mouse, I want a keyboard. There are no European keyboards. I will just stick to the US one. And as I'm in the marketing team, I want some tools to work. So I will send it to the IT teams. And as you can see now, you have fields based on a CMDB. So that's why it's really important to have a good CMDB. As you can see here, automation, it requires approval. So we have a proper workflows. And as you can see here, you have elements overview that started working on the back. So we already know who's assigned to that issue. If I go on the issue view on the other side, I can see here as a support, I can see all information from the CMDB that we retrieved. We can also see here on the site the sentiment analysis that I was talking to native from Jira. So the natural sentiment over here and the knowledge base. If I go back to my view as a users, it will log again elements overview. And now as a users, I can see the SLA linked to that issue. So I know when I will have approval and when the resolution will be done. So I have a full timeline and it's fully transparent for me. If I go now, I will go to Pulse so we can just log everything and it will run in the background. It will run in the background. So if I go back into Elements Catalyst, here I go. For example, we'll work on that request type. I can now define a service owner. So actually someone is responsible for that request type and you know who's handling the work. You can also enter a cost or a price. Do you know the differences between cost and price? The cost is what it will cost the company. The price is how much you are charging the others for your service you provided. Really two different things. So here I can also say that, okay, my cost is 15, but my price will be 20 because I want money. So if I go here, again, I still have my information, but now I know the total cost of that request. I know the cost per ticket, and I know the total revenue of that request. And here, as you can see, nothing different from the others. Here in the info, I can choose to display that information to the request form. So when the user actually starts fulfilling, saying like, hey, I want a new laptop, this is what it will cost you, and you are aware about the price for the company, can be useful so you don't create a request if it's too expensive for your company. And you also have change history. So you know who made the change, when, what was the change summary, and what is the new value and the old value. So you have actually log of your request time, so you know what's happening. Something that I also forgot to mention about Elements Catalyst is that you can have a full view about your portal. So here you can see the number of request types that I have in my portal. I can see the number of requests that were raised from the portal and the requests that were not raised from the portal. If that number is too high, maybe you have a problem and you need to fix it, because we want people to create them from the portal. You know who's the most popular request type, so you know maybe the one you should be focusing on and prioritize. And you have also the least popular request. So you know the one maybe that are not used and you need either improve them or delete them. So if I go back to Elements Pulse, now that it's fully logged and all time, here I have my service quality metrics that appeared again in the insights part. I have all the information related to those metrics so I can improve them. As you can see here, I have a green dot line. That's my goals. That's what I want to achieve. So that's really important to know where you want to head. We talked about that. And that's in the goals part. Here, I enter the metric saying like, hey, I want it to be 98%. As you saw, I'm not good at the resolution rate yet, but that's where I want to head. So it's really important. So if we just finish the slide about the experience management, I talked about the ROCs matrix. So this is what you should be focusing on how to prioritize. You want to prioritize what's cost you the less or make you the less effort and what will have a higher impact, and not do what has no experience impact but will cost you a lot of money or efforts. Okay, so it was demo. At level 3, there will be no demo because it's not about adding more Jira workflows. It's really about the mindset of the company. So it's made you have XLA-driven improvement. So that means that IT teams are at the board and they say like, okay, this is where we need to focus. This is what we need to achieve. Instead of saying we need to cut resolution time by 10%, it's we need to make sure employee can collaborate smoothly without interruptions. Different mindset. The subtle shift change priorities, investments, and ways of improvements are delivered across the ecosystem. You have persona-driven XLAs. Marketing team doesn't have the same need like HR or legal. You introduce a full ROC, so you make really insightful business decision based on that. And that's a really must to have. You have an XMO culture, so it's experience management organization. So you have maybe an office person to work on that. You have actually an experience management office team. Some companies in the world are already having and shifting to that. I can tell you some names, for example, Amadeus, Subside 7, and a computer company that I cannot recall, but they are based in the UK. And it saved them a lot of money because they are really focusing on the experience. So they are making improvements really daily, and people are just happy with the service provided. See that we're running a bit short, so I will just stick to that. People are truly happy. Faster, seamless support, less frustration with the tool and processing, user-centric thinking. You go into the people's shoes. Better collaboration and personal services that fits their roles. Truly important. Why team up with Elements and Jira? You identify the areas of improvement. You track the improvement through time. You improve your ability to provide quality services that meet your customer needs. The one last thing that I truly want to highlight is the XLA journey isn't about rushing to the top overnight. It won't happen like that. It's about taking it step by step. Each level builds on the last. If you skip too fast, you risk losing adoption, data quality, or cultural buy-in. So that's why we designed our apps to help you all along the steps. You can truly make them customized on what you want to track and to measure to be sure that you're still working on your XLAs. In other words, Elements has the right tool to support you step by step. XLA journey isn't a sprint, it's a step-by-step transformation. It's a marathon, I would say. So you can grow progressively with the right tool at every stage until experience become the real value IT delivers.
Hmm.
And the last quote is from a civil rights activist. People will forget what you said. You will forget what I said. You will forget, people will forget what you did. You will forget all those slides, but you will never forget how I made you feel. And that's truly important.
Yeah, great comment.
Do
Cool.
you
Thank
have
you.
any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Charlotte. That was phenomenal. And I think to your last point, it's really important, and we all need to remember this, that, the great products and the tools that Atlassian and folks like Elements creates um, are there to help us, but we need to remember on the back end that, do these SLAs influence the agent behavior? Is it helping them to improve things, or is it just, adding speed or, creating speed for them? Um, and it's tools like these that really kind of show us and shine those spotlights on where we need to look. And to your point, Charlotte, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We need to make sure that we're constantly improving, and being that, that agile methodology. So yes, thank you again for a wonderful conversation. Are there any last minute questions for Charlotte? If we'll put in our channel in the Ace channel that Charlotte's email address if you're okay with that, Charlotte. If people want to reach out to you and ask further questions, but great
Yeah,
presentation.
sure. I can put you my details so you have my full name. It's a
Yeah,
bit complicated, but if you want to add me on LinkedIn or if you want to email me, this is my email address and this is the
awesome.
team based in Toulouse. I see that we have a question in the chat. Interesting to see SLA visible to users. How common is it? It's not.
Yeah,
It's not. But I think that that's something really important because you never know the SLA of the IT teams and you never know their constraint. And it's important, I guess, for all users to know
yeah,
basically when their tickets should be solved.
yeah. Great point. Great question. Great point. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in another wonderful app hour with Charlotte from Elements. Charlotte, thank you again for everything. This was phenomenal. Everyone have a wonderful
Thank
day,
you.
and we'll chat again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.